Hi, good afternoon. I'm here with Jon Hall from Onboard Retail in Harrogate. How you doing, Jon?
I'm good, thank you very much. Good to meet you, Mike.
And you, looking forward to the interview and getting to know a little bit more about what it is that you do. So if you could give us an introduction as to who you are, what it is that you do, and how long you've been doing it for, please.
Yes, yeah. So Novo Onboard Retail provide a software suite to rail companies to allow them to do their onboard retail. So that means that, well, you'll have, I'm sure, experienced somebody coming up to you with a trolley, asking you what you'd like to buy. They select the products on the screen, pass you the payment device, you pay, that's generally the process on board. But we provide all the functionality to allow them to provide that process. So the software suite in the back office, manages the products, the price lists, the stock plans, as we call them, all the journeys, and we're able to ensure that they deliver the products at the right time, right place, to the train. And then obviously we do all the reporting on the backside of that, which is, allows the management to, monitor their key objectives, for their sales on particular routes per person, etc., etc.
When did you start the business? How long have you been doing that for?
Right. Well, I started back in late 2019. I worked for a company called Touchstar PLC as a board member, but I just wanted to leave at that point. I was 62, wanted to just do something that I wanted to do. So I'd handed in my notice, and at the last board meeting, I still actually didn't know what I was going to do, but I was going to do something. And I just asked the chairman during lunch whether I could buy the Novo Onboard Retail division that we'd mothballed. It wasn't doing too well. We had a lot of problems with, Thomas Cook went bust. We did a lot of the, I point out that we did a lot of the onboard retail for airlines as well at that time. Monarch had gone bust. Thomas Cook had gone bust. We'd lost Air Berlin. Jet2 had gone off with somebody else. So it really wasn't good news. So we decided to mothball that company. So, just manage and allow the companies that we had to, carry on their business. But it was a division I loved. I just loved the onboard retail side of things. Although I was involved in, all the other different companies, this was my favorite. So he said yes. And sort of 2 months later, there I was at the beginning of COVID, starting my business and running, an onboard retail company just as COVID hit. That wasn't easy because, of course, everybody, all the, the airlines and the rail companies stopped operating. But actually, it was a blessing, because when I picked the business up, the software required a phenomenal amount of updating. And it just gave me this 18-month period where I still had some income coming in, to just redevelop and revamp the whole system. So, we managed to, change the look and the feel of it, the functionality. It was mainly around the user interface, just making it really easy, modern, and updated for, the back office users and the POS users of people, the hosts, as we call them, on the trains, and the aircraft at that time, because we were still doing aircraft. So coming out of COVID, obviously people started to realize that they needed to update the systems. They needed to have contactless payment systems, because they didn't want printed receipts, they didn't want people touching the devices. So there's a massive rush really to revamp all the facilities they had for their onboard retail. So that just played out really well for us, so what we did was the airline side of it is huge. We won Iberia Express, Iberia, a company called Level. And this was all through, we worked very much through sort of concessionaires or people who are providing the whole service, sometimes directly to the airline or the rail company, sometimes to these concessionaires who provide all the facilities, all the stock, they provide the crew on board in some cases. And we are very, very specialized in just providing the technology. I don't want to be involved in any of the rest of it. So we had this company in Spain that we did a big development with for, at-seat ordering. So that was a big, big push after the COVID epidemic. Again, because the less contact the crew have with members of the or passengers, the better. So we developed this onboard at seat capability in conjunction with what we call an IFE company, which is in-flight entertainment, and from that, that the airline side really took off. I decided that I would like a partner to front the airlines. So this is a bit of a business strategy that I came up with. So they now run all the airline business, and I decided I would focus on the rail sector, which gave me a bit of a problem to some extent because I divided the what I've learned over the years is if you push two similar but different markets together, then one will survive and the other will die. So I have this, from a management strategy, I have divided those two divisions. Airlines has got to look after itself and wash its own face. And now rail, which was very small, has again got to stand on its own 2 feet. So, accounting wise, in terms of staffing, in terms of development resource. So for the last year and a half now, we've been just totally focused on the rail sector. And I have to build that to a point where it's washing its own face, it's paying for itself, which we're there now. But the next sort of 2-3 years, we've got to build it up to a point where the company is a saleable company. Because as you can probably tell, I'm of a certain age, and I want to be able to maybe sell the company, or maybe just move into the background and bring somebody in. So there has to be enough money there to pay for somebody to manage the company, or it has to be a viable proposition as a saleable company in 2 to 3 years time. So that's what we're doing at the moment. Building up the product capability is absolutely key. Keeping absolutely abreast of all the different technologies that are facing us. In the payment sector, it moves so quickly. So there are new payment devices coming out.
Is that a challenge for you then, in terms of keeping up, or is that part of what is it that you love about? You mentioned I love.
You just got it. You got it there. That's just what I love. I am a techie. Underneath my commercial sort of front, I'm a techie, and I love looking at new techniques, new new functionality, new products that come onto the market, and new trends. I mean, if you see what's happening in the Far East with WeChat Pay, and I can't remember the other one. Then there's it's Alipay. Then there's phenomenal change in the way social media is getting involved in payments capable or payment channels. So it's very interesting to look at that, try and predict what's going to happen in the future. I do a number of talks about the future of onboard retail in both the rail and the airline sector. Yes, I'm a bit of an anorak when it comes to that. Just love it,
I was just letting you talk there because it was interesting listening to your experiences. I didn't have to ask many questions because your experiences were coming out, and your strategy of what you plan to do, where you've been, what it is that you love, and your passion for what you do, and perhaps why you've gone into that area of what you do. So that was really good. Thank you very much. In terms of, I suppose, summarizing a lesson or a biggest lesson in what you've done to date in business and sharing that, what would that be if there's one you could pick out?
I think if you're purchasing a company, just in those early days, I probably got a few things wrong. When we looked at the contractual side of it, I've got a few shocks. So if you are buying into a company, absolutely make sure that not just you give it to your solicitor to look at, but make him very aware of what your expectations are. If you don't do that, the lawyers will look at it and say, yes, that is a good legal document, but does it reflect what your expectations are in terms of what you can do, how you can do it, what payments are required to be made to the company you're buying it from, and what money was coming with the company. So a few lessons learned there. I won't do that again. But I think, for anybody who's, starting a company, particularly, obviously I'm very involved in technology. I think one of the main things I've learned over the years is whatever you do, never, ever diss your customers in front of your staff. The customer must appear to be king. What I've seen happen in so many companies over the years is that if there's a bad attitude towards the customer from the top as the managing director, that infiltrates the whole company. And that service...
There's a culture issue there then, isn't it? As you say, it kind of...
Yes, yeah. Yeah, and I've seen it in nearly, having worked in, project management and sales as well, you see it in a lot of companies. So if there's a bad attitude towards the customer, that just goes through the company like cancer. And the most important thing, and this is true of, where I'm at the moment, my most important valuable asset to my company is the customers on what they say about me and what they think about me. So you've got to be careful because they could take you, for every penny you've got, because, if you're so willing to please, you have to be strong and make sure that you get, you get paid for the things you do.
Yeah.
But you must make sure that they are happy, that they have all the functionality they need, because you're going to use them as a reference. Whatever you do, whenever anybody comes to you, particularly with large tenders, as we tend to get, that reference is absolutely key to you, winning those contracts.
Yes, having those testimonials, the proof that it works, that you
Yeah.
can deliver is pretty
Absolutely.
vital in today's operating environment. Thank you for sharing that. So what
Yeah.
inspires you to do what you do you think, in terms of, I know you mentioned about technology and being quite techy in there. Is there anything else
Yes.
above that you get inspiration from to do it for friends, family, or things that you listen to or read?
Yeah, I think yes, on a personal level, throughout my career, 40 years of working, in 35 years working in industry, I always work for somebody else. And I don't know if you've been through this, but you always wonder, could I do that by myself if just I was making those decisions and not relying on, the wider team and advisors, within a big PLC where I was, could I make those decisions myself? Am I a businessman? And that was when I was deciding to leave and do my own thing. That was absolutely what I wanted to prove to myself. Can I run a business? Can I make those decisions effectively? My father was a dentist. He had his own business. His father's butcher. He had his own business. And my sister had her own business. So I think it was one of those things I was thinking I would
Always
love
the question.
Yeah. And that's what drives me. Throughout my career, I've never really been terribly money orientated. I like money to give me that comfort. So I don't want to ever feel that I'm at risk, if you like. But the thing that really drives me is I'm a bit of a pleaser. I love to talk to my customers. I love to hear good things about myself and the company. If I don't, I'm straight on it, try and make sure that that they are satisfied, and I sort of get back from or come back from perhaps a little bit of criticism. So that's really what inspires me to do this, and I just love working. Unfortunately, I'll never retire.
Yeah, well, let's see. It gives you the purpose to tap into what it is that you enjoy, doesn't it? I guess.
Purpose in life is absolutely key to everybody, whatever that purpose might be. Yeah.
Brilliant. So lastly, in terms of any latest news or a website that you can share for people to get in touch, if they do want to get in touch, feel free to let us know.
Yes, I mean, the website is onboard-retail.com. Anybody who wants to contact me is Jon.Hall, Jon.Hall at onboard-retail.com. Very pleased to talk to you if you need any advice or just talk about life in general. I'd be very pleased to hear from them. Big news is we've just won our biggest contract, which is with Arriva. It's cross-country trains. So we're doing the onboard retail system for them. And we're just in the early stages, actually, just going through the requirements document. One of the most important things you can do as a software business, make sure that you and the company you're dealing with absolutely agree on what's going to be delivered before you deliver it. That's one of the key things that I've learned over the years. So we're just going through that business requirements side of it now, but huge win for us. Arriva are part of Deutsche Bahn as well, which will give us that. We are international. We've always been an international business, but to really get the growth we need, and we're focused on, we need to increase our international presence, and that will help us do that.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Jon. Been an absolute pleasure talking with you. Thank you very much for sharing all that you have.
Okay, that's been great. Thank you very much, Mike, for the opportunity.